Okay, now it's time to call to order the special council meeting on June 25th, 2013. Ms. Hoffman, roll call.
Mr. Longshore?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Burke?
Here.
Mr. Dunhoff?
Here.
Ms. Skidmore?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Sudkamp?
Here.
Ms. Pitts?
Here.
Ms. Kyle?
Here.
Ms. Cahill?
Here.
Mr. Cahill? Mr. Brown?
Here.
Mr. Blankenship?
Here.
Mr. Howard?
Here.
We have a quorum. Are there any bids?
Yes, Mayor, we have two bids. One,
Frank, is it fun where you go?
I forgot Mrs. Sutcamp's first name all the time.
well, I was looking at the first ordinance, but anyway, yeah, we have two bids, one from Duke Energy and one from Owen County.
I'm sorry.
Is there a motion to accept both bids?
Well, we need to adopt an ordinance first, and that's ordinance number 2382. And the background behind all this is that when we enacted the ordinance that established the electric and gas franchise, I included a provision that by which the franchisee, Duke and Owen County, released the city from all liability to them for anything, anywhere, anytime. I didn't think that they would agree to that, but we got to arguing about other provisions of that ordinance, and nobody said anything about it until the ordinance, until we decided to revise the provisions of it and separated out the indemnification provision from the release provision. And then all of a sudden they realized, whoops, we shouldn't have agreed to that. Well, we had already passed the ordinance by that time. They were kind of insistent that the release provisions not be as broad as I had drafted it. Our position at this point, we want to get the ordinance passed and get it effective by July 1. To be honest with you, the release provisions were a little bit broad, and I didn't have any objection to reducing or narrowing the scope of it, so I agreed that we would amend the ordinance that established the franchise to revise that provision, which is what has to be done before we address the bids and accepting the bids, because those bids are all conditioned on the revision of the ordinance that I'm about to read to you.
So we're going to have another first reading of the ordinance.
We're going to have a first reading of a new ordinance.
Right.
It's an ordinance of the City of Erlanger, Kenton County, Kentucky, revising the franchisee release provisions of Ordinance 2378, by which there was established a non-exclusive franchise for the use of public streets, alleys, and other public grounds of the city for the transmission, distribution of either or both natural gas or electricity through and for consumption within the city. And then there is included in Section 1 of the ordinance the revised provision of Section 3.10.9 with the new language underlined and well, there's no language being deleted. Yeah, there is. There's one word being deleted. So the new language is underlined. The language that's being deleted is lined out. Basically, again, what it does is it narrows the scope of the release that the franchisee is agreeing to give the city in their bid.
But otherwise, the terms of the franchise ordinance are the same.
Yes.
Okay, as we already had first reading on.
Yes.
Now, I asked the city clerk to note the minutes of first reading of this ordinance. We need to get it passed by July 1st. I'd like to call a special meeting of City Council tomorrow night at 6:30 so we can have second reading on the ordinance. Can we get 7 people here tomorrow?
What time?
6:30 tomorrow night.
I'll be here.
I'll be here. Put it in the paper?
Already been sent.
Oh, it's already been sent.
Can we read it that quick again?
Yep.
Most every time, right?
I thought it would, yeah, I'll try very hard to be.
I sent it today. It's already been sent to the paper.
Yeah, that's what I was worried about.
Oh, okay.
Just had to read them on separate days. That's the requirement for the ordinance.
Okay.
The requirement for the special meeting is 24 hours notice, which you all have received.
I can do it.
6:30 tomorrow night. We'll be here for about 5 minutes.
Who, raise your hand if you can make it.
Yeah.
If you can.
I mean, it's
If you
important.
can make
I mean, we need to get as many people here as possible.
Then we gotta have 7 people here.
Is there 7? Is Randy in?
Try my
Are you in? 1, 2, 3, 4.
We got 7.
Yeah, we got 7.
Okay. 6:30 tomorrow night then for the second reading of this ordinance. That is the end of the agenda.
No, we've got 2 more ordinances to read. The ordinances I'm about to read now.
I'm looking on the agenda. Were these ordinances we're going to read part of the call for the special meeting? Because they are not on the agenda.
Well, Mr. Whitman explained that they fell
They
under the
are because they are
911
entitled
franchise
bids,
fee, so
9/11 franchise fee, and these ordinances are going to accept those bids.
Very good.
Okay,
right.
next ordinance,
Mr. Wick.
2383, an ordinance of the City of Erlanger, Kenton County, Kentucky, accepting the bid of Owen County Rural Electric Cooperative for a 3-year non-exclusive franchise for the use of the public streets, alleys, and other public grounds of the city for transmission and distribution of electricity through and for consumption within the city. That's first reading. Second reading is ordinance 2384, an ordinance of the City of Erlanger and Kenton County, Kentucky, accepting the bid of Duke Energy for the use of public streets and alleys and other public grounds of the city for the transmission, distribution of electricity and gas through and for consumption within the city.
We had 2 first readings just then, correct?
We have had 3 first readings.
You had them numbers backwards.
2382, 2383, and 2384. 2383 is the Duke franchise, and I
Right.
misread that. 2384 is the Owen County franchise.
He's got it right.
And the ordinance, both of them accept the bids of those utilities. So we're
got
gonna,
that right.
we've got 3 new ordinances. We've had first reading, we're gonna have second reading tomorrow night.
So anything else that's on the call for tonight's meeting? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Brown, second by Ms. Kyle. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Good night. See you tomorrow.